Hi, welcome to me and my bass and part 2 of do I regret selling some of my or trade some of my basses. Well, you already saw in the first episode there were maybe about 3-4 basses on 24, which I thought, well, 23, which I thought, well, maybe that wasn't that handy. But okay, let's move on. So then I had a Fender Precision Standard from 1992. Okay, I could regret it because it was a unique bass, because it was one of the first basses made ever from Mexico. So that's something historic. But as you have with some basses, or at least I have with some basses, some of them play themselves, some of them are really hard to get a good note out of it, and somehow I had that with that bass. It was a good bass, but it wasn't that for me. So regret it on one side because it was valuable, but playable not so much. So okay, that one went. Then I had a Bach bass that is a relict, sort of relict jazz bass from from the Czech Republic, right? That was a great bass. I played it on a couple of gigs, and it was a really good bass. Maybe I should have kept it. I bought it for almost nothing, but I swapped it for with two other basses. I swapped it for the tune bass. Okay, but also in that same swap was the Aria IGB 50 Integra, which was a sort of spectral-like bass, but then made by Aria. Also a great bass. And I also traded in the Squier HMV, a 5-string Squier bass with an unusual Fender headstock. It looked more like a heavy metal bass, and that's why it's called HM. That was also a nice bass, but okay, I had enough 5 strings at that point. I also swapped a Squier contemporary bass for a classic vibe. So but that I also sold later on. So I had that bass, and it was a great bass, but somehow it sounded a little bit dark to me. Maybe I should have done something with the potentiometers, but I have 2 left hands. I can't do that. So that one also went. Then I bought and sold a classic Vibe 60 Mustang, Squier Mustang bass, which was nice, but I have something with new basses. Somehow they feel rather stiff, and it didn't come loose at one point. So I thought, well, maybe I should get rid of it. So that went also. Then I had bought really cheap a Sun Mustang bass, which is a Fender brand bass made in India, which looked not too great. Well, I think the headstock doesn't appeal to me that much, but the sound was great. It sounded really like a precision bass. Then we come to somewhat more extreme basses, the Warwick Streamer from 1998. I swapped that one for the Aristides 050 prototype. I really liked the Aristides because it's a Dutch bass, etc. and the Warwick was a great bass, but I don't know, the 5 strings didn't fit me too much, so I was glad to let that one go. Also, I swapped the Warwick Corvette standard fretless bass I had, was also a 5 string, great bass also, but I swapped that for the Ibanez Doug Wimbish bass, which is more up my alley, to be perfectly honest. I also sold a bass I bought many years ago, I think around 89. It was a Tokai Jazz Sound bass. Good bass, but incredibly heavy. So that went. A Squier Troy Sanders Jaguar bass, also very nice, but well, nice, but that's it really. The Ibanez X-Star AXB50 also sold that one. Maybe I could have kept that one, but I don't know why I sold it. But I think it took up too much space or something. I don't know. The Status Energy came next. That was which I already told you in the previous episode. I have something with those Status Energy or Status basses. I mean, I can't get used to how they sit on my lap, and I hardly do any playing standing up, so it didn't work out. I couldn't get used to how these basses play. So Status, great brand, absolutely fantastic, but not for me. The Chord Funk Machine, I wanted to have some money, so I sold that one too, because I didn't play it too often. Great bass, because there was a distortion and a wah circuit inside the bass, which is quite unique. Then came the Fender Player Jazz Bass. Well, I already had another jazz bass, so that one could also... Oh, I swapped that one, right. I swapped that bass for a Charvel. I wanted to sell the Fender Player bass, and somebody offered me the Charvel, and I thought the Charvel is a great bass. I still have it. Then I really wanted to make some money and sold the Carfin LB20 bass. Incredible quality, but I just needed some money at that point. Also sold the Washburn Bantam headless bass, which I bought really cheap and sold it for a bit more, because it was a really unique instrument, but it didn't offer much to which I already got. All those Steinberger-like basses were better than that one. The Sterling Sub Ray Black, I moved on because I stopped playing in the AC/DC tribute band, and I didn't need that backup bass, so that went. Also sold the Do That Principle bass, which was which I bought new, which was great bass, but again, a new bass, it feels really stiff. I couldn't. That went. Then I had the Lodestone Primal Pro, which is on paper an excellent bass, because it was made in Czech Republic in the same factory where the Spectre and the Steinberger basses came from. It had all kinds of fancy stuff on it. It was a really good bass, but somehow I couldn't get used to it. So again, a bass I had to let go. Then I bought 2 jazz basses, Fender jazz basses, with in mind that I could swap them when I saw something which was more interesting to me. So I did. I swapped the Fender Jazz bass from 1998 Sunburst for the Patrick Koopman the Riser bass, which is in my eyes and ears a much interesting bass than a Fender Jazz bass. I also bought once a Ibanez Tellman, and I could swap that one with the Harley Benton 5-string bass. I had a Fender Jazz bass from 1996. I always get confused. And I swapped that one for the Godin, and that was this year. I also sold the Squier Mike Durnt precision bass, which was a great bass, but okay, I got a little bit too much basses, so that could go. And I also sold the Lakeland 4401, which is also an excellent bass, but I could use the money to buy myself a dark glass anagram. So that were the basses I sold in the last 40 years, sold and swapped. And do I regret them? Yeah, there were some of them I maybe it would be nice to have them kept, but such is life, everything goes on. I'm still looking on the marketplace for if I see something which is interesting to me, and maybe I can swap some of basses I got here. You never know, people could be interested in that as well. Okay, that's it for this episode. If you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe, and I hope I see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Until next time, see you. Bye bye.